I was thinking.
Welcome to the ARW Discussion, everybody. I see we've already captured a few guys there. We got Memo Makes, and we got Rusty Knox and David Fairbanks. Hello, guys.
Hey, Stan, is that better? Is that better, Stan?
Yeah, you sound a little better.
Great. Okay.
So today, I think that everybody wanted to, or some people wanted to talk about your two most favorite tool purchases or two best tool purchases. And does anybody have something like that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by favorite. Whether I already know what Chuck's answer is going to be. Anything that he got a steal on is his favorite.
There you go.
But that doesn't necessarily make it your favorite tool, to use. But it might be your favorite because, hey, man, I literally stole this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say your best purchase.
Well,
your best purchase.
I'll give you my.
I actually have.
Oh,
there you go.
Looks like you went live. That's mine.
Oh,
sorry, I was just putting that up there. It looks like Harold already went to it live. Go ahead. I can take this down. We'll talk about this in a minute.
This was listed on eBay it was listed as a bearing cartridge because it kind of looks like a bearing cartridge. It was listed for $14, and it's an Eagle Rock dead length 5C pneumatic collet closer. And
it looks like a collet closer.
I actually paid more for shipping than I did for the actual unit, and I've used the hell out of it. If you check these things out, they're almost $500-600. But what a great tool! I use it more than I thought I would. I've got the manual 5C closers with the lever, just kind of a lever collet closer. But you hook this thing up to a foot pedal, and it's I don't know, it's just great. I use it in the bandsaw, I use it in the drill press, I use it in the milling machine. I got an angle block that I mount to and use it 90 degrees. It's just a great little closer. And you set it up with a hard hinge self-ejecting type backstop. And as soon as you step on that pedal, your parts just come flying out at you. It's just a wonderful thing. And for the price, I guess that makes it my favorite. I don't know.
Heck, my parts come flying at me, and I don't even have a collet closer.
Yeah.
I got to say one of my most favorite tools in my shop is the Milwaukee deep cut bandsaw. Set in a vertical position with a foot pedal. And I can't tell you how many times I just walk over there and zip, zip, zip. It's one of the most handiest tools that I really enjoy that. Great. It was a good purchase and fun build, and it's one of my most favorite tools.
Yeah, those are pretty handy.
Yes, a porta-band is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
They'll cut a pretty good sized piece of metal too.
Say it again?
They'll cut a pretty good sized piece of metal too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my favorite thing is a Precision Matthews mill. And my second favorite is a copy of the belt grinder that what's his name? Young fellow that built the original one.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name either.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't exactly copy his, follow his plans because I never do, but that's been the handiest thing I've ever had is a belt grinder.
Real quick, while we're talking about belt grinders, can I flip my camera?
Yeah.
Let me flip right here. See if I can. Whoops, I just shut it off. Camera, front, back. So right here is my belt grinder. And years ago, I tried putting it on an engine stand to turn it. And so I've been working on these guys to set it up and turn it on 90 degrees.
Yeah, I like that.
So hopefully I got it high enough that the motor clears. But that's what I've been working on. Been having fun with it.
Looks like some good work.
It's all camera.
Uh-oh.
Looks good, Chuck.
Thank you.
But I have to say that my favorite best tool purchase would be the Bridgeport that's virtually behind me right now. Scoured Craigslist for a good 2 years. Down here in the South, we don't come across a lot of good machineries that's local. You have to go a ways for it. But I picked this up not 45 minutes from me for $2,300.
Nice.
A really nice mill. Had to.
Yeah.
I threw the VFD and the power feeds on there and the digital readout, but it was a pretty good price for the machine when I picked it up.
Yeah, if you can find that old iron in good shape, it's a great addition to the shop.
I picked up the 6x12 Walker surface grinder for $650 with a electromagnetic chuck, not the manual, but the one that you can variable adjust the power on. So that was a pretty good deal too. I was told that the chuck alone was probably worth that.
Yeah, we don't see deals like that around here.
When I bought my mill, the guy goes, "Yeah, go up there and get it." And so I go up and see the guy. I look at it, and the guy says, "I only ran it all the years. It was in a shop, mostly ran plastic." I'm going, "Great." Give him it's $2,200 with the phase converter and a bunch of tooling and vise and everything. And so my buddy that told me to go get it, he goes up with me to go load it. And we walk in, and he goes, "It's not a Sharp." I go, I know shit about this. I know nothing. It's a Supermax. And he goes, "I thought it was a Sharp." He goes, "I sent you up here to buy a Sharp." And so ended up buying a unit. It's been a great machine, but didn't end up with a Sharp.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, howdy,
Dave.
everybody.
Hey, Dave. Here's my favorite one.
I think one of the best deals that I ever got was actually on my surface grinder. I had been looking for one for a couple of years, and I was looking specifically for the Sanford because it was shown as being a benchtop unit. And I watched eBay for a long time, and finally one showed up, and it was the right price. It was like $500, $499. And I looked at the location. It was 45 minutes away from me. I couldn't get a hold of the guy fast enough. I got on the phone, and by that afternoon, I had it loaded up in the van and home.
Nice.
So I've made a lot of money with that grinder. It came with, actually, it's a 6x12. I had been looking for, I think they made a 5x10, which is all I really wanted. And the 6x12 is a full-size grinder. It just wasn't on a base. But it actually takes up more floor space than Stan's grinders. But it came with a 6x18 electromagnetic chuck on it, which was worthless because you couldn't grind it in. It was only a 12-inch grinder. So I took that off, and I got a close pole manual chuck for it. And I just recently, after almost 3 years, sold the electromagnetic chuck. Had a guy pick it up. It almost went back to the same place that it came from. But that was probably my best buy.
Now, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was always under the impression that the electromagnetic chucks can also be used as a demagnetizer. Do they all have that feature, or is that something?
I would think that it would work if you had the proper controls on it.
Mine's got a lever. One way's to engage it, and one way's to demagnetize it.
Well, and somewhere in between there, it actually will push the part off of the plate for you, right? You don't have to dig at it.
I think that's the release setting.
Right, but I mean, my only experience is with a manual magnet, but I've heard that the electromagnets will actually, you get your hand on it, it'll actually push the part off into your hand.
I'll have to do some experimenting with it. I haven't played with it that much to know.
I did a little research on it, and a couple of people said that if you actually hit the magnet with AC current initially, that's what demagnetizes it.
Oh.
I never tried it, so I don't know, but
Yeah, that would work. You'd want a way to control it, though. If you just hammer it, you'll start popping parts, and you'd need to then pull the part slowly back from it to get that effect. But yeah, it would demagnetize. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it would probably work.
Yeah, AC is what they use. I got a demagnetizer from Banggood, and the secret is, I guess, all the electrons are in the same alignment, so it causes it to be magnetic. What you do is you're putting it in an AC field, which is reversing current, and it's starting to scramble everything up, and then you have to pull it off very slowly, otherwise it's going to stay magnetized.
Right.
You can't just shut it off.
Yeah, because you're alternating the field, and as you alternate back and forth and slowly pull away, you can also take just an induction motor and just with the coils and just pull the shaft out of it, and you can pass things through that while it's on. That'll demagnetize as well.
Yeah, it's still
not necessarily a good idea, but it will work.
Anybody ever try demagnetizing a digital caliper?
Oh, no.
I'm scared to do that.
Actually, I did a Mitsutoyo. I got a pair of Mitsutoyo 6-inch dial calipers. They were getting a little sticky out on the tips. And I talked to Mark Rotowski, and he said to slide the head as far away from the reed head as far away as you can. You go ahead and run it over your demag. I've got a separate demag plate, and I did that. And then I very carefully did the jaw that's fixed up against the reed head.
Now, is that a dial or a digital?
No, it's not a dial. That was a digital.
Okay.
It did not
take the battery out.
I did not take the battery out. In fact, I had it on.
Okay.
Oh.
I didn't kill it. It's still working. Mitsutoyo's pretty tough. I actually fixed that indicator that got dropped at the bash too.
I saw that.
Yeah. It took me about 15 or 20 minutes of tweaking to get the sweet spot. That little stem bends very easily in a pair of aluminum jaws, and just slight tweaks, figure out which direction to tweak it. And I finally got it unstuck. Works good again. That is my favorite indicator right there, that model. I had just bought that from Tom Lipton. I gave him $10 for it. So it was no harm, no foul. If the thing got destroyed, it wasn't the end of the world, but sure felt good to bring it back.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of tools, but half of them you can't revive really good smashed tools. So how about you, Everett? You got a.
Well, as far as if we're talking about a combination of best tools and best deals you've gotten, I'm afraid that the knee mill that I got, the Bridgeport clone with the vise, let's just say that when that one came up on Kijiji, which is kind of like Craigslist up here, but a little different system, I was like, it was only up for 20 minutes, and I sent the guy a message, and he says, needs a little TLC. Well, what does it need? It just needs cleaning up. It's mostly just used for, cutting valves or keyways on valves, because it was a valve shop, like for industrial valves. So yeah, mostly just used for that, whatever. I said, would you take $500 for deposit? I'll be up in a couple of days to pick it up when I have a day off. Sure, not a problem. Well, let's just say that his phone lit up that for the rest of the hour after that. So it was one of those deals that I'm just thankful I was able to get my foot in the door for it, because otherwise I could not afford a machine like that. I just simply couldn't. So I was, I'm very.
He didn't sell it out from under you.
Yeah, well, I was willing to take that $500 risk. Such is life. When the deal like that comes up around here, there is machinery around here, but it's massive, and you won't fit it in your garage, right? I mean, a lot of the oil field production shops have been shutting down and auctioning off and whatever. So yeah, if I wanted a big 1M63B Stanko, lathe, yeah, I could have picked one up for $3,600 at an auction a while ago. it's longer than my garage. So, it would be awesome. It'd be great to have a machine that size. But so anyway, that was that. And then I will admit my little Chinese 7x12 bandsaw. That thing is worth its weight in gold. I have put that thing through its paces, and it saved me a lot of hacksawing. So those I would have to say would be my 2 amounts of best money spent in the shop, honestly. Pretty plain.
And buy the new lathe and build a shop around it.
That's why I don't have a full-size Bridgeport space.
Yeah.
You need a bigger shop.
Oh, I know it. Here's my favorite, my best purchase.
Right there. Yeah.
South Bend 11, 1931 model. I got it for $100.
Ooh, nice deal.
Of course, it didn't look like that when I got it, but it was still worth $100.
Yeah, about anything you can buy for $100 is worth what you paid for it.
Oh yeah, I had to drive about 2 hours to get there, but he said I should have asked a lot more for it. There was about 30 phone calls after yours. He said yours was the first. So, I probably should have given him a big tip for holding it for me. Maybe I'll send him some cash.
I got a quick story when I went to buy my Synchrowave, Miller Synchrowave. It was on Craigslist, and I was second in. The guy had it listed $798. When I bought it, it worked great. Brought it home. All it does is blow tungstens off. It's terrible. $600. And I'm second in, and I get a hold of Tom, and I go, Tom, what do you think about this? The guy's got problems with it. Tom goes, get it. He goes, they're indestructible. Go get it. Well, I'm second in, and I get a phone call, and the guy goes, you're in. And so I call Tom back about it, and go, what should I look for? It's 3 hours away. He goes, here, call this guy Fred. So I call this guy Fred, and I go, Fred, Tom gave me your phone number. Can you go look at a lathe that's right there in your city? He goes, well, I'm having breakfast with my buddies, but I got $600. Yeah, I'll run over there for you. He spends 2 hours tearing the skins off, trying to make it work, and calls me up and he goes, I don't know, make an offer. So I told the guy $300. And so this guy that doesn't know me, but I'm assuming he's great friends with Tom, buys it for me. And I come to find out that he doesn't even know Tom. He just knows it by looking at him on YouTube. That's the amazing. So I go up and meet the guy, great guy. We put it in my truck. I bring it home. It was $70 to fix it, and all it was you can't have the arc and the TIG lead on the post at the same time. It fouls up the electronics in it, and works fine.
Cool.
Yeah. But that guy Fred, I've kept in touch with him, and unfortunately, sad story. Just like Chewy, he got his hand stuck in the lathe also.
Oh,
he's recovering from it. Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Hey Chuck, do you know if anyone bought that hydraulic tracer that guy had in the back of his truck? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it, and I forget who I was showing it to. I don't know if it was Gary Brown or not, but as far as I know, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
He never gave me a price. I had a little bit of interest in it.
Uh-huh.
You can do tapers with it. You get yourself a nice round bar, some linear shafting,
Yeah.
and use that as a guide, and you could do some nice tapers with that.
Yeah, he never said a price to me, although I didn't press him on a price.
It's a lot like Fenner's tracer.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. It sounded like Fenner's. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty nice, and he said it was 100% functional, but he never gave me a price. I kept hounding him for a price, but he never gave it to me.
Wonder why.
Maybe
We need to make an offer.
You'd offer more than he wanted.
That's when you start low and go hot and work your way up.
Yeah. How about
maybe you
Mr. We haven't heard from James Cloud, the 4-jaw champion, yet.
Yeah. Well, I took some photos. Let me pop these up here. I just walked out in my shop.
All right.
Hang on. That's not the right window. That's the right window. And I wasn't really looking for things that were necessarily, tools that I really like. What happens if I resize that? Nothing good. Okay. I was thinking more just in terms of like quality of life improvements. And I think the number one thing I did in my shop that improved my quality of life out there was the lighting. And now I did this because I was shooting video, but even if I weren't, I would do it again. I've just got a ton of light in the shop. These are just $30 4,000 lumen fixtures from Costco, LED lights, and I think I've got 10 of them here, and I've got a couple more or 4 more over the gym, which is on the other side of the garage. And it is just like daylight in there, and it is the best thing I've ever done. I can see punch marks, I can see scribe lines, I can see everything.
Do you know what the K rating is of them?
The K rating, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, they're 4,000 Kelvin.
Okay.
Are those
Yep,
4-footer?
They're 4 foot. Yep,
4
foot fixtures.
Yeah, I use the same exact ones in my shop. I get them at Costco, and I have 4 of them in there, which in my little shop makes it daylight wherever you go in the shop.
Yeah, I've got 10 here, and this is a 2-bay garage that they're in.
Okay.
So it's a lot of light, and that has just been great. The other thing that I cannot emphasize enough how much it's changed my life is tool storage. And so I've got various roll around cabinets, but I went through and 3D printed organizers for everything. So this is the tooling for the Tormach style tooling for an R8 mill. I've got another tray for these are ISO 30 for the high speed spindle on my mill, and then I did the same thing for my lathe. In the drawer under here I've got trays to hold everything for the lathe. There's pockets in the back for different kinds of collets and tool bits and boring bars, and across the front all the quick change tool posts, and that has just been wonderful.
Nice.
And let's see, what else did I shoot? Oh, and I love the Baldor buffer. So this is a Scotch-Brite deburring wheel, and then these are just non-woven Scotch-Brite pads on the other end. And nearly every part that comes off the mill or comes off the lathe or comes off the saw, I just walk it over there, a couple of strokes on the Scotch-Brite wheel, and it just takes the burrs off. I don't generally use it very much for surfacing. It's more just for deburring, and it just leaves just an ever so slightly broken edge without really rounding it. I've been real happy with that.
Does it work better than the wire brush?
I like it a lot better than a wire brush, because the wire brush will scrape up the surface pretty good. The non-woven pads over here will take, like on extruded aluminum, they'll take the mill finish and the scratches and the ink, like the writing that's painted on the side. They'll just take that off and leave you with a nice clean aluminum surface. So that's also pretty handy. See what else? Oh yeah, of course. The electronic lead screw on the lathe is just it's not really intended to be a shameless plug, but if I was looking around my shop saying what improves my quality of life, being able to just dial up the feeds and the threads on the lathe has been a game changer. Anyway, that's what I found just walking out there and thinking about what makes me the happiest.
Yeah, I remember you were talking in your one video there about the amount of lighting one of your earlier, or I guess a year or so ago, you're talking about the lighting in your shop and how many fixtures and stuff you have. And the thing is, I wound up getting an auction lot of a whole pile of fluorescent tubes, and we just had our bulk garbage day treasure hunt here in town, and people were getting rid of fluorescent fixtures. So for $5 and a little bit of wiring, I'm gonna have probably about 46 tubes in my ceiling.
Wow, that's great.
And the thing is, yes, I realize they're fluorescent and they're not as efficient as LEDs. I can replace the tubes as they die. I'm just going to start with this and go from there. But I remember you specifically on that one video, so that's why I've been watching out for stuff like that. And yeah.
Well, it makes a huge difference. Now, if you're doing video, then you have to worry about color as well. But if you can even if you can just get everything the same color, you can make it work. It doesn't even have to be good. But if you're I'm mixing and matching brands of cameras as well. So I've got a Sony that I use as my main camera, and then I've got GoPros, and I've got some other stuff in there. I've got a DJI, and I've got a Canon, and having reasonably good quality light makes it a lot easier to then grade the footage and get it to match. But if you're shooting with a single camera, you can use almost anything as long as you have lots and lots and lots of it.
That's a lot of work.
Just a comment. on the lighting. I don't understand how LEDs rate their K. Now you said you're at 4,000. I've got a LED right here in front of me. It's not on, but it's bright white, and your shop looks bright white. But the comment is one of the 4-footers behind me burnt out, and I needed to get the replacement bulb, and I couldn't remember what K I had bought and put in there. So I went to Home Depot, and the highest one they had was 5,000. I put it in there, and this sucker was yellow. It was disgusting. So I realized I must have had 6,500. Home Depot doesn't carry it anymore unless you order it. So I had to order a pack of 10.
So
And I'll tell
that's
you,
pretty unusual to go that high. Normally, 5,600 would be considered daylight. The only time the only way you'd ever see a color temperature higher than that, like naturally, would like be in the shade on an overcast day. You can get to that, but your typical kind of warm light in a home would be about 2,700. Is about as red as it goes. But yeah, so when you say you look at that and my shop looks bright white, well, all the light's the same color and the camera's adjusted for that. So if I had 2,700 Kelvin, which is super yellow, and then I set the camera for that, it would look white in the video.
oh, okay.
So the camera
But yeah,
adjusts,
still.
your eye adjusts as long as you're not looking at two different colors at the same time.
Yeah, but it's like I said, the LED in front of me, if I turn that on, it's just as sun bright white as the 6,500s behind me. But I love this. I mean, it is bright in here. I love it.
Yeah.
LED, I think, is normally a very high Kelvin.
You can get them. So the LED actually outputs ultraviolet light, and then it hits a phosphor that's inside, and that can be set to pretty much any color.
Oh,
so
really?
they can be warm, they can be cool. But the emission spectrum is a little bit different. When you talk about Kelvin, technically you're talking about the light that would be given off by a black body radiator at that temperature, like actually glowing because it's hot. And the way fluorescent lights produce light and the way LEDs produce light is different. You've got a band gap or you've got an energy level between electrons on the atoms. And so it's not even. There are spikes at different areas. And so to your eye, you kind of compensate for that. Cameras, though, can be very, very picky. That's why fluorescent lights often things look green. It's because it's not a smooth spectrum.
A lot of times, the LEDs are cheap, even though they're a very cool light. And in the past, trying to find a 5,000 fluorescent, you'd pay more for it.
Yeah, for sure. I picked 4,000 Kelvin because these fixtures were cheap at Costco, and then everything else I've added, I've matched to that.
I did the same thing. I put 8 double fixtures in my garage. I love it. And I think I got 4,000. I can't remember, but I think there were 4,000.
Hey Dave, these are 5Ks in my shop, LEDs, and they're the retrofit bulbs. And we use these we use the 5Ks exclusively in paint mixing rooms where they have to do color matching. And it's really important not to shine any blue or any red or any yellow into the mix in a color matching environment. So, and I was always really happy when we did those units. So I started ordering the 5Ks here for the shop, whether it be fluorescent or LED. And anyways, what you see behind me is all 5K LED.
Yeah, wow. It looks good, though.
Yeah, I thought the light in your shop was really good when we were there.
That's what I got. I just looked it up. It's 5,000.
Where did you get them from, Stan?
I ordered them case quantity from back east. We were in the middle of doing it. Every time we do a job, I will order enough to do another part of the house. I've slowly gone through the house and converted everything over to LED. So I would always order surplus. But when we're doing a job for a customer, I need, 3, 4, 5 cases, or, if you get enough, you can even get pallet quantity discounts. You get free shipping. They got all kinds of deals you can get. This was a company back in Texas, and as it was, they ate the cost of the LTL for a pallet quantity of 5Ks.
Wow.
I think I paid $50 for 4 fixtures. Hard to beat that price. I don't know how long they'll last, but they've been up there for about a year now.
Yeah, I was looking to replace some of these fixtures, and I paid like $30 years ago. Now it's over 100 for the same one. Ouch.
Oh, really? For fluorescent?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wound up. It turned out the ballast went out in it, so I wound up buying 3 new ballasts off of Amazon for like $10 each.
Hmm.
And they
I've
turn
bought
on instantly now.
I bought a lot of those LED lights. Every time one of the fluorescents in my garage would go out, I'd replace it with LED, which was, 100% improvement right there, right off. And the trouble is, though, they're linkable. And I thought, well, that'll stop me from running a lot of wires. So I go to Sam's and I buy them. It's linkable from another company. So you can't make the suckers together.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Mine just have a normal outlet on them or a short cord. You just plug them into each other.
Yeah, they come with a card. You just plug them in, and you get a string of 10 of them. But if they change manufacturers, they make the end of the card different.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine just got a normal 110 outlet on it.
Mine's just little tiny, like you'd have on an electric shaver.
Got you.
Most of them are that kind of configuration, but they still manage to make them different from each other.
Of course.
The ones that I get from Costco just have a 110-volt outlet in the end with like a lamp cord on the other end.
Yeah, that's what I got. They said a maximum is 4 together. I don't know why.
I don't know either. They don't pull much power.
No, you would think you could link at least 8 of them.
It's probably the plug is probably only rated for 5 amp.
Yeah, but 4 of them. What are they?
About 1 amp each, so they're giving you a little margin.
Yeah, they're actually running the power through the PC board strips. The LEDs
I guess
are on
that's
PC
probably
boards, and the traces go to the other end and they attach. I've taken several apart because I was trying to figure out how to adapt the strips in there for lighting under my mill head, and didn't end up doing it because it's all integrated.
We've got a couple of the Harbor Freight ones that we use at the space. I don't know what the K rating is on them. I went and looked and couldn't find it. They only have the lumens. They don't have the K rating.
It's hard to beat a halogen light for detail. I'm down in my bar and down in a couple of shadow box cases that my wife has. She's got her little artsy fartsy things up there, and we had halogens in there that were showing off her little statues and knickknacks, whatever. And they really, that's the reason they use them in museums too, halogens. They bring out a lot of detail. And we switched over to LEDs, and I was pretty disappointed in the way that the LEDs brought out detail. It just didn't do it. They weren't bringing out what the halogens used to. Now, I get that there's energy savings. You're not putting out a gob of heat. Those halogens run hot. But I don't think there's a good LED replacement yet for halogens, and halogens certainly have their place.
Yeah, that's what I've got right up there.
So
you can see all the wonderful, handsome detail of me.
If you look over my shoulder there, by the rotary lift, you can see a 4-tube fixture. Those are 8-foot fluorescents. 20 plus years ago, we were tearing down a building. Myself and my neighbor, we went to the building, and we came out with a pickup truck so loaded with those fixtures that as we went out through the rough grade, a fixture rolled right out of the truck, and we said, hell with it, and just kept on going. At one point, before I had the shop, my 3-car garage, it looked like the sun. There were so many of those fixtures in there. And I'm just too cheap to change them out. They work. And I put the cool white bulbs in them.
I got an 8-foot back there over my bench. Lights up everything. See what I can do.
My next video is going to have a neat LED light in it. One of my viewers, Terry Cannon, sent me a nice light. It's a real bright LED little portable job like a lightsaber. It's really bright and handy. You'll see it in my next video if you take time to watch it.
I have noticed pinpoint lighting, it makes a lot of glare. It makes it hard to look at things you're machining. You ever notice that?
Yep.
A good diffused fluorescent makes it easier to look at.
Yeah, it does.
I've tried to add lighting to my machines, and a lot of times it kind of backfires. You can't really see what you're doing as well.
It also helps with the shiny spot on the top of your head in the video.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I gave up on that.
How about you, Dave? You didn't tell us your favorite purchase.
Oh boy, for me, it's very tough. There's so many things. My second lathe, second mill, the 3018 CNC, a lot of stuff. But so I guess make an announcement here for the upcoming holiday, July 4th. I'll be releasing a video on the top 5 things that I bought from Banggood. And my contact at Banggood said he's gonna do a whole bunch of exclusive deals. So Everett, if you're interested in the 3018, this may be your one chance. So I'm gonna be getting a whole bunch of special deals and coupons and stuff for everybody. But as far as my favorite tools, this guy to me is a royal pain in the you-know-what. Because you're always fighting it, trying to get the indicator level. This is loose, so you're fighting that, trying to get it tight. It's hurting your fingers. So I really hate this thing, and you're trying to get it down on your part to the right height. So my favorite thing was the Greist. I did a video on this guy. Greist Manufacturing Company, I don't know how they got into making a precision tool when all they're doing is sewing machine parts. But I've had a blast with this. You put this on the granite plate, and I made the little adapter here for my test indicator. It goes in there, and you can control the height beautifully. I also made one with the breakaway. It swivels and stuff, so I can put any indicator I want on it. Made some more scribers for it. I don't know if you can see that very well. I made a couple of them. And I made the 1-inch riser too for it out of stainless. So that was fun because that's really hard to do, to indent that without chatter on a mini lathe. Very not easy. So that's basically my favorite tool right now in the whole shop.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for the heads up, Dave, but I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to order much from Banggood. Turns out our recently purchased house, we need to order. Well, we're booked for having a roof on it in about 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, turns out that there's rotting decking and stuff too. So that, yeah, between that and building a garage, I don't have. Yeah, I have to hold back on my money spending. Thanks for the thought, though.
Yeah, no problem.
Here in the States, if that happens, it goes back to the original buyer. And very often they're liable for things like roofs and so on that they represented as being acceptable.
Yeah, it's not so much here. It's basically once you bought it, it's yours.
That's also according to how you sell it.
Don't you go through escrow, Everett, and have a building inspector?
We did. Building inspector missed it.
Oh boy, that's a lawsuit for him.
Yeah,
He can get sued. Go after him.
Yeah, if you sell as is, you're not tied into it. There's no liability.
It's pretty much a building is so. I mean, in here in Canada, as far as when you buy a house or whatever, it's just, what you see is there. You look it over yourself. You get your inspector to come through, and then once conditions are released, it's yours.
Yeah. Usually the inspectors are required for the financing.
So
how did you find out or discover the problem?
As I was starting to work on the garage and looked up into the peak there, and where the downspouts from the upper stories come down, and they just dribble it across the shingles down further. Yeah, and it tends to wear shingles out like it did there, and now there's a couple sagging pieces of sheathing, and a few areas where it's been dripping, and black mold in the sheathing. So it's yeah, it's what we got to deal with. It is such is life.
It'll be done and be good for a long time after that.
Yeah, well, talking with my roofer there, he was saying that they're no longer using a lot of paper-based shingles around here. It's all fiberglass based. He says, yeah, we don't get to touch anything under a 30-year warranty, he says. So I'm just looking forward to getting this, whatever, we'll get her dealt with and move on. So it was kind of a hit in the pocketbook that we hadn't really anticipated. Yeah, that and the price of building materials made the finishing up the garage a little more expensive.
You
I
ever get your
started to
permit?
ease up a little bit here, but
Yeah,
The
I got my
building materials are really weird. Like I just ordered some doors, replacement doors, and they're oak, and they're same price they were like 3 years ago. I priced them 3 years ago, same price. But when you buy a 2x4 or 2x6 or treated lumber, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
And plywood's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get your permit for your garage?
Yes, it did. That was a few weeks ago. I've just been slowly trying to pick away at it. Just recently I got a chance to actually start getting at it. It's just trying to get at it around life, because life. So, but I'm working on it. Got a truck full of insulation, starting to stuff in the walls.
you're gonna have to go back to start turning wrenches again.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it all depends on, that all depends on if we go for the hat trick of 3 kids, at which point I'll be having to work again for a while. And so we take turns on somebody's at home with little kids at home.
Yeah,
So-
that's expensive if you have to pay somebody else to take care of them.
Yep. So,
My house has been through, 2 roofs already. We replaced them twice since I've been here. So
how long you been there?
well, I bought it in 77. So that's how long. I don't know how long that is. I can't count. I don't
I had
have
to have a
enough
new roof.
fingers.
I had to have a new roof put on due to a hailstorm that came through this area. I don't know. It's what, 7-8 years ago now. I don't know. It was really bad in the South. They had thousands and thousands and thousands of homes that got damaged by that hailstorm. It was huge swath of them. And man, you got to watch it when that crap happens, because there's all kinds of con artists that come out. Mm-hmm. These fly-by-night roofing companies pop up. They try to charge me for like 8 sheets of decking, and they used 2, and I caught them on it, and I bawled them out about it.
I got a nice tile roof, 30 years old, and it still looks brand new.
I should have got one of those clay tile roofs, the Spanish style, but it doesn't go well with my house.
Yeah, you need a lot of support in the rafters to hold that weight.
Yeah.
I'd like to do the standing seam steel roof.
I've heard they're good.
Yeah, that'll last forever.
They're probably kind of high price, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Although
nice.
with the price of plywood right now, it might not be so far
Yeah,
out.
you're right there. Yeah, you got that right.
Well,
Gas shortage. How's gas prices out there, Steve?
Oh, I guess we're cheap. We're down under $3 a gallon.
Oh, and you, Stan?
Yeah. For real diesel, I'm over $4 a gallon. That biodiesel that they're peddling off is cheaper. That is a false economy. We were up in Stockton working, and that's all you could find up there is that biodiesel. The truck runs bad. The gas mileage drops dramatically. I usually run about 17 in the Cummins, and I was all the way down to, by the time I rolled home on a full tank of biodiesel, I was all the way down to 14. So the mileage is terrible on the bio. It stinks out the tailpipe. The truck doesn't run good, and but it's like 30 cents a gallon cheaper.
Smell like French fries? McDonald's French
It
fries.
smells like a Chinese, yeah. Your tailpipe smells like shrimp and fried fish.
You're jonesing for ginger beef by the time you get home.
Yeah.
Well, I just did the math up here. Here in the town I live, it's $1.31 a liter Canadian, and so I just did the math here, conversion, whatever. It's about 4.01 a gallon for gas, regular.
Wow, it's about the same here.
Yeah, it's about the same down in California.
4.01 US.
Rucker posted a picture of over $5 a gallon somewhere on his way up to was it Wyoming? Was he going to?
He was heading to he was heading to Wyoming.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I think we're around 3.
Yeah, we're sitting about 3.25 here in Idaho.
How about you, Harold?
I think it's about 258, something like that, down at Sam's Club.
It goes wild there where you come from, though.
We got lots of gasoline here. All you got to do is get on the pipeline. We'll send it up.
Drive it over here.
When I worked in the evil polluting refinery, we were hooked on the Colonial Pipeline, of course, and that's where everything went. Well, we basically only made premium gasoline, so that's what we send up the Colonial Pipeline.
Can't hear.
I see that Al's here. Al, you got a favorite tool? He's not talking. Hey, Al. You got a favorite tool?
I don't think
That
he
you
hears us.
purchased? Okay.
Nice.
There he is.
Technical difficulties.
You know, a handy tool is a jack like this.
yeah.
Lab jacks, and I can't tell you how many times those things work in your favor. I've got this is a 8-incher, and I got a little 3-incher also. Very, very handy tool.
You just showed that picture. It reminded me of the little scissor jack tables that Harbor Freight sells. Those things are wonderful too.
Yeah.
I almost bought one here recently. Then I got tempted to buy something else.
I happened to be at Lipton's shop when he was putting the DRO on his lathe, and that's what he used, those lab jacks, to position the machine off of the, position the rail off of the machine. It's kind of a slick way to do it.
Yeah. I built one of those little tables, but I didn't get I built it entirely out of wood, and the stuff wouldn't slide very good on the other wood.
I remember that video. Yeah.
Yeah. It did the job. I wanted to put an oven in the wall, built-in oven, and I couldn't pick that thing up, and I couldn't balance it worth a darn on a jack, hydraulic jack. So once I got that made, I could just go in there and yank the other one out on top of it, dump it out, put the new one in. So it was worth whatever plywood it took.
I use the little jack a lot of times when I'm TIG welding to hold my hand. I can adjust the height up and down, and it works
Yeah.
really well.
I don't do any
That's a
TIG
really
welding.
good idea.
My welding's pretty bad usually. It looks like a dirt dauber.
Mine too.
I was watching Gary Brown. He had one of his daughters, or maybe his only daughter, I don't know, doing her first time at welding. And I watched a little bit, and I thought, well, heck, she's doing twice as good as I can do.
Hey, Harold, I once took guitar lessons from a guy. He was one of the best in the area. And after like a couple of weeks, I asked him, this is when I was a youngster, I asked him, can I hear you play? And he was like insulted. He goes, you got to pay $500 to see to hear me play. And when you said about welding, I say, you have to pay me $500 to see my welding.
Well, I'll tell you what, it gets pretty rough. It holds everything together, but it doesn't look good. I have to use the angle grinder and paint. You know that old saying, angle grinder and paint, make you the welder I ain't.
Yeah, same here. Are you MIG welding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the core wire for it because I'm too cheap to keep buying the gas.
Yeah, I've tried it both ways. I've actually had better luck with the flux core on the
Yeah.
110 meg.
I think I like the flux core better too, but I never had enough gas to really find out.
On 110 volt welders, when you're running flux core only on the cheaper ones, the 110 volt, they classify them as 60 to 90 amps. I found that if you run the 030 flux core wire, not the 035, the 030 runs a lot hotter and smoother.
Yes, that's what I use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm using gas now, but I don't know. I get better penetration with the flux core on the 110.
Yeah, it's on DC negative is the hotter side of the
Right.
circuit, so it would make sense.
Yeah. The big difference in wire too. I can't tell you what I bought, but I had to adjust my settings and wire feed speed and everything when I went to a different brand of wire. Kind of surprised me.
I buy the Lincoln wire.
I don't remember what I bought, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and also the flux actually makes the arc burn hotter. Kind of like there's a lot of stuff in there that'll, like 6013 is a hotter burning arc than like 6010 or 11. They put
Right.
ingredients in there that makes the arc burn hotter, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Different brand wires.
Is any of the Harbor Freight setups any good? I mean,
I've got a Harbor Freight MIG welder, and it works fine.
My
Yeah,
big problem is I don't do enough welding. And I just did a video where I was doing some welding, and by the fourth part of each weld, it was coming out pretty good. It just takes me that long to get everything dialed back in again.
Well, my biggest problem when I weld is I get off the seam. I can't see where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
And I keep
absolutely.
lightening up the shield, but half the time I can't see where the heck I'm going, so I make a real mess.
I did get a better welding helmet, and that made a big difference where I could adjust it so I could see.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'll get one of those myself for Lincoln welders.
Yeah, I got the Lincoln helmet. It made a big difference.
Yeah. I got the big view. That seemed to help because I got bifocals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I'm running a Lincoln helmet and wearing bifocal safety glasses under it helps a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a good welder yet. I'm still playing.
Oh, I'm not a good welder yet either, but the bifocal safety glasses are better.
I've got a cheap Harbor Freight hood.
Oh yeah, those will damage your eyes.
What now?
I think those are risky to use. Honestly, that's what I got for mine, the Harbor Freight hood. And I used it a couple of, 4 or 5 times, and every time I was like, okay, I'm a little bit blinded here. So I didn't see any flash, but you're talking auto darkening?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fast enough.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have both, and I can't tell you that there's a whole lot of difference between I have a better Harbor Freight one and an entry level Lincoln, and I can't really tell the difference.
Yeah, well, that's good. And maybe mine was messed up too. It kind of scared me though.
I've been welding with a Miller Elite for years. That's my daily driver. But at the bash, Lincoln sent over those Vikings. Did anyone try one of those? Did you try it, James, when you were here? No.
No, I didn't.
The Viking is a quality helmet. We had it at the welding school. It's
the Viking. It was outstanding. Usually when you're welding, you see everything monochromatic. And with the Viking, you're picking up colors. You're seeing everything while you're welding. I mean, you're seeing the color variations and stuff. You're seeing every little detail. It's if I can see it, I can weld it. And man, that Viking was amazing. It's a $500 hood, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I'd buy the best there is. My dad was a welder, and he had to quit because he caused some permanent damage to his eyes. But this was a long time ago, and I've still got a lot of the lenses that were in his glasses and stuff. You can't see squat.
Yeah.
Buy the best you can, man.
Well, you can work with a prosthetic finger, and you can work with a prosthetic leg. You cannot see with prosthetic eyes.
No.
Protect them.
Yeah, big time.
Same as safety glasses. Same thing. Welding lens is a safety glass for your eyes. You won't burn them out if you have a quality one. Right?
Yeah, I tell you what, when I'd go out and edge the yard with a string trimmer, I wear safety glasses because that darn thing throws stuff in my face all the time.
Yeah, I was surprised. I wear these glasses all the time to see what I'm doing. I had to buy another pair because I'm looking at them. All of a sudden, there's little chips in it. I'm going, what? Stuff came out of the lathe and chipped them?
I tell you what will really ruin your glasses is your bench grinder. All those sparks coming off of there, they'll melt right into the glass, and you're not going to clean that up.
I wear a different set whenever I'm doing something like that.
These are safety rated that I picked up. I've got the little shields that clip on them even. I'm pretty happy with them, but I've had chips get in my eyes before from tapping. They bounce off my forehead, hit the inside of the lens, and right into my eye.
Hey.
Had it happen twice now.
Yeah,
safety stuff.
Chance for accidents. How's your finger now that you've cut it off?
It's fine. It's healed up. There's a little dent there, but I've got all the feeling. Now the pants, on the other hand, from the lathe, that's a different story. They're
Hey, I could tell you some terrible grinding accidents I had at the welding school. Like I said, I've been retired since 2018, but you wouldn't believe the accidents with the 4.5-inch grinders. You would not believe it. You know, when I started welding and throughout my welding career, they didn't really show up until the 80s. I bought my first 4.5-inch grinder like in '84, a Black & Decker. I still have it. But at the school, I mean, I can tell you nightmares of what, you know, when I say kids, I say between the age of 18 to 29, that generation, just can't get it with these grinders. To take the guards off, we'd keep after them. They take the guards off, they take the handles off, they grind with one hand. We had one take the wheel off and put a 6-inch cup grinder under that he found somewhere in the building that might have been in the scrap. It flew out of his hand, hit his elbow, cut his elbow, bounced off on the floor, shattered, shot out like a rocket, and broke a kid's inside of his arm, hit his elbow on the inside that was walking by. We had another one had hoodies on. He's grinding with the grinder, and the strings from the hoodie got caught in the grinder, and it winched up and sliced his face open. I mean, and that's, you know, and we're, you know, that's what 4 instructors keeping after these guys to, like, you know, constantly in the classroom drilling safety, and you can't appreciate the power of that little Tiger grinder. You know, a 6-inch grinder or a big shop grinder, 2 hands, takes 2 hands to handle it. It's safe. Those little ones they get careless with, and that thing's going 10,000 RPM. And I'm not even talking about the stone shattering. I'm just talking about holding on it with one hand, no handle. They can do a lot of damage. You got to really respect those little grinders.
I just, since you mentioned grinders, we were talking about favorite tools. After I bought this battery unit, I just love the son of a gun.
Oh yeah, battery. There you go.
I can't tell you how many times I reach down and just go, man, I wish I bought this a long time ago. Great tool.
You got the chainsaw blade for that, Chuck?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Back in the early 70s, long hair for the guy was the cool thing. High school shop class was running the drill press. He leaned over too far. took his whole scalp off.
Whoa.
Blood flying everywhere.
I was going to say drill presses are extremely dangerous in the metal shop because people, they use them in the wood shop and they think they're easy, but they don't clamp the material down and they go to using it and it grabs the steel and it helicopters on them and there goes digits.
It's all complacency.
Hey, there's Howie.
It's all complacency.
Howie.
Okay, all you viewers, we appreciate you guys showing up to watch today, and this could be the end of the 21st, I guess, ARW discussion. And the regulars here, you guys can hang on after and talk to each other if you feel like it. All right, so thanks for watching.